Benjamin Netanyahu, and the photo's been 100% rotation directly to Jeffrey Epstein. A guy named Jacob emailed
his bath. Love it or hate it?
Hate it. I'll confidently hate it.
Hate it.
Love it. Love it. So much.
I love ice baths, like, occasionally, but you can't do them too much, because if you do them too much, then you actually get used to them, and then you're like, oh, now I'm getting used to it, it's not so bad. That means it's not working anymore.
I love it. Yeah, it's hard, but yeah, I love it.
It's a love-hate relationship. It makes me feel really good, but I hate doing it. I've never done it. I've never done it.
I tolerate it.
I hate the process, love the results.
I've learned to love it. I love the endorphins afterwards.
I tolerate it. I prefer the sauna.
I'm going to tell you the truth that no one else is willing to tell you. The Earth is a planet that has been conquered by an evil empire after a Star Wars in space in our galaxy. There was a war between the Galactic Federation, who are the good guys, and the evil empire. The difference between them is simple. The Galactic Federation is a union of many worlds, many species, many civilizations, who all honor life and respect the sovereignty.
So Carol Lyon Levitt responded to Trump posting that racist video of the Obama.
Breaking news, super important, super potentially exciting. The DOJ has now said, starting on Monday, they will allow members of Congress to view the unredacted Epstein files. Now, they said they cannot bring any electronic devices with them, so there could be no pictures or recordings, which is great because there shouldn't be, because that's terrible. And honestly, I am very excited that they are able to go and view that and hopefully bring some more monsters to justice. But I feel for them having to view that. I'm glad it's them and not me. But either way, they are allowed to take notes. They're allowed to bring staff. So that is interesting. Hopefully we can get some good stuff out of there. I know I've reached out a couple times to my representative, Kim Schreier, here in the state of Washington. I've tried to ask her questions. I haven't heard back from her.
J.D. Vance and his wife Usha receive an icy welcome.
I'm sad to report.
Did you all hear about what's going on between Japan and China right now? Because China just literally threatened to behead Japan's prime minister. They straight up said, the dirty head that sticks out.
What happened to Justin Bieber was right in front of us this whole time. When Justin performed at the Grammys in just his under... If you don't believe...
Yeah,
so if you're not Australian, this is why we don't go into the dark forest. That is a nest of a colossi around.
Hey, you sweet things. Hello.
Creepy real photos that keep me up at night, part 81. This photo was posted to Reddit with the caption, I took this photo.
The government does.
Is it possible to obtain the location of a phone using only the number?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I can find out where someone is. Like, for instance, if they tell me they're going to one place and I don't believe them, I think they're going someplace else. I'll be able to find out if they're lying.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
But here's the real question. Can I do it without them knowing?
Yeah, sure. Yep.
Is this going to be a yes or no?
Program award.
Mr. Secretary. No.
So you still haven't had time to read the 3 million Epstein file documents released over the weekend, but you don't want to look like a thicky dum-dum in front of all your mates. Here's a quick rundown because things are kicking off and the British Prime Minister might have to resign. In the UK, the fallout from the latest Epstein file release has focused on this man, Peter Mandelson. Oh, Jesus. Can you find another photo, please? With clothes, preferably. With clothes.
I'm a public school teacher and one of...
If a food looks like an organ, it helps.
People are saying this guy is Satoshi Nakamoto. There are 3 reasons why that theory exists.
So I learned something new today. It's called TLDR. And I was having a conversation.
The Philippines can not only withstand an invasion from China, they could actually repel it.
China likes to bully all of their neighbors, but especially the Philippines when it comes to their territory. China claims that their territorial waters go hundreds of miles deep into what actually belongs to the Philippines, including the Spratly Islands and the Scarborough. This is more than just a paper argument.
The president is now insisting he did not make a mistake after that blatantly racist video was posted on his own social media account, and the president is now claiming that he did not see the part of the video that depicted former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama as apes. The president's comments coming after an avalanche of backlash over the video that was posted late Thursday night. But at first, the White House press secretary...
Let's talk about how I got robbed in Thailand. And maybe by the end of this, we can figure out where things went wrong and what I might have been able to do differently to...
These are called sauna eggs.
Guy next one cut right down there from the...
Finally trying Church's chicken. You're supposed...
Distance that comes from people who have antisocial personality disorder and...
President Trump promised to restore law and order to the United States of America. And newly released data proves he is delivering overwhelmingly on this promise. A study from the Council on Criminal Justice shows that the murder rate across America's largest cities plummeted in 2025 to its lowest level since at least 1900. Again, let me repeat, to put this in perspective.
When you go camping,
children were fed radio.
You know what Stillwater is, right? Watch this.
I was 6 when it started, and for the first 3 years, I was used as what was called an expendable child. In the Belgian network, there was a...
I've got a friend who's a billionaire, and he is in those circles. And when I went to his house and had lunch with him one day, he knows lots of people in AI, building the biggest AI companies in the world. And he gave me a cautionary warning across his kitchen table in London, where he gave me an insight into the private conversations these people have, not the media interviews they do where they talk about safety and all these things, but actually what some of these individuals think.
I moved to Germany from Singapore last year, and it has been a bigger shock than I expected. These are the biggest adjustments that I had, both good and bad, ever since moving here. The biggest pain in the ass has been bureaucracy, and this is something that even the locals complain about. In Singapore, we are very lucky because a lot of government and admin process.
This doorbell camera in Alaska captured...
Here are 3 websites no one talks about. First is this website.
This has to be one of the craziest Epstein emails that I've come across so far. It directly implicates Elon Musk's brother and contradicts the narrative he's trying to push. Take a look. The file number is at the top, and as you can tell, it's from 2015. Epstein says, I gave another girl to Kimball, referring to Kimball Musk, Elon's brother, and he is thrilled. I told him you prefer dark eyes. This email is public information now, of course, but the government had it in their possession for years. Why did they never?
In 2008, 22-year-old Tim...
And so today, I want to talk about...
The White House yesterday morning was just dismissing all of this as fake outrage. They ought to have known that last October, a Republican party in Kentucky, a local Republican party, put that video out, long version of it, on their Facebook page, and it caused uproar, and they had to pull it down, and the head of that local Republican party in Kentucky had to apologize. The second point that shouldn't be overlooked are the first 59 seconds of the video, because they're all about Trump's obsession with trying to prove that the 2020 election...
So there are hundreds of emails in the Epstein files with coded terms like pizza, grape soda, shrimp, and hot dogs that people think might refer to sex and trafficking minors. The New York Times published this post from an online message board that just shows what these words usually mean. So it says hot dog equals boy, pizza equals girl, cheese equals little girl. And that makes sense because we know that cheese pizza notoriously means this, because CP. And in the Epstein files, there are over 900 references to pizza. And actually 60 of those documents have been removed.
So first of all, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and subscribing and talking about it. We're doing really well. That's thanks to you. Please continue to do that and tell your friends and family about it.
I need to talk to you about something serious. Last week, I received a demand letter from lawyers representing Kanakuk Ministries, a Christian summer camp in Missouri.
What did I say about him? That he could eat?
I want to move on to another figure that you have, over the course of your career, have gotten in a bit of a disagreement with, Nick Fuentes. He's
He's this far-right white nationalist who is, very popular online with many people who support you.
I don't think I should have to answer for a guy who attacks my family and who didn't even support us in 20.
The fact that somebody had.
I just got to the train.
I did get a chance to look inside the craft on only one occasion. And this was important because where the reactor sat might have been critical to how it operated, since everything operates without any
Has anyone thought about how weird it is that for our entire...
So this is one of the most disturbing things I've ever read in my life, and it raises the question, was Jeffrey Epstein impregnating young children in order to force them to have kids that would then be brought into the world of sex trafficking and pedophile rings from a newborn, or I should say from the age of newborn, or whatever you'd say. So these are screenshots from a journal of one of Epstein's victims, and the girl talks a lot in coded language. As you can see here, this is kind of how she wrote, and she writes in these journals, but it's a pretty easy code to decipher. I deciphered a bunch.
She doesn't know it yet.
There's only so much that I can say on social media, but do not be...
Pizza to Bobby. What does a gynecologist and a pizza boy have in common? They can smell it, but they can't eat it. May I bring in your slice of pizza to you? Pizza party was great. We had a lot of fun, stayed late.
Women who are surviving.
They're taking stuff off the websites right now. The DOJ is removing files off of the websites. Not only that, you can't download any of the data sets anymore. Legally, you're supposed to be able to download those.
Look at this 17 in Florida. So they're saying Neverland is where Michael Jackson.
Too many people are forgetting or simply do not know that Jeffrey Epstein outed Donald Trump when he was still alive. There is a recorded interview of
when you... What's the thing when they say people eating?
Elon Musk just announced that Tesla will double its USA production because of Donald Trump. And Trump is currently pretending to buy a Tesla in front of the White House so that...
Guys, I've literally been crying.
Well, Elon Musk just showed his true colors again by tweeting about taking away women's rights. Look at what he posted. Some random psychopath tweeted this. He said, "It breaks my heart to say, but in order to save this country, we are probably going to have to do things that make women sad," to which Elon Musk retweeted true words out to his millions of followers to see.
Stop everything you're doing and look at what...
This is exactly why you don't take out loans against your crypto. All of those influencers and all of those companies that promoted the narrative of you don't need to sell your crypto, you can just borrow against it. If you had listened to those companies and those influencers, you would have been liquidated this month.
In the US, President Trump says he didn't see the racist part of a video shared on his social media account. The 60-second clip, which contains claims about voter fraud in the 2020 presidential election, also depicts Barack and Michelle Obama as apes. Stuart Robson joins me now. Stuart, has Donald Trump admitted that this video is racist?
Well, he has condemned it, but he has refused to apologize for posting it, and that's despite being asked reporters on board Air Force One last night whether he wanted to or not. In fact, the White House has actually blamed somebody else, somebody that they have called a staffer, for not spotting the racist depiction of the Obamas as apes.
Ready? I think our country is occupied.
So Mr. E, he's not. And in a 2019 statement, Bill Clinton acknowledges that he didn't know anything about what Epstein was doing. I find that maybe a little hard to believe, but the Clintons are daring Congress to put it out there for the public to see.
And sometimes the only thing standing between me and insanity.
There are wounds you can stitch.
Y American plan is papsne mejora.
So, let's talk.
Trump and Iran just wrapped up talks in Oman. Both sides said it went great. Iran called it a good start. Trump said, "We'll talk again next week." Sounds like peace is coming, right? But here's what Trump did hours after shaking hands. He slapped massive tariffs on every country doing business with Iran. China, Turkey, India. Anyone buying Iranian oil just got hit. Zero warning. And U.S. military deployments around Iran still ramping up. The USS Abraham Lincoln is sitting in the Arabian Sea right now. F-15 fighters just landed in Jordan. Patriot missiles rolling into Qatar as we speak. Iran's not backing down either. Their foreign minister said, "We are prepared for war. If attacked, we will strike every U.S. base and Israeli target." So what's the real issue in these successful talks? The U.S. demands zero enrichment. Iran must give up all nuclear capability. 400 kilograms of enriched uranium, gone. But Iran's deputy foreign minister responded, "Uranium enrichment is a red line we will never surrender." These are two demands that will never meet. The U.S. wants zero nuclear power. Iran says enrichment continues no matter what. Both countries smile for cameras, call it constructive, then immediately prepare for conflict. Trump signs tariff orders and moves carriers. Iran mobilizes defenses and threatens retaliation. The question isn't whether they'll reach a deal, it's who breaks first. When both sides say talks are going well, but quietly stack weapons at the border, you know something big is coming.
If you work in the tech industry, consider your days numbered. The tech company I worked for, until recently, gathered some 200 to 300 data analysts and data engineers. The head of data had a couple of presentations for us. The first one was alerting us that over the next 12 months, our main objective was to rebuild the data warehouse into a format that is optimized for AI data analysis. The second announcement was a demo of a tool that they were building/planning to build, an internal tool that will do data analysis, essentially product analytics. I watched them proudly demonstrate a tool that does the things that I have spent my career skilling up in, the parts of the job that I enjoy the most. The reason that I joined this company, I saw them being done by AI, or at least
I think the most fascinating genre of human beings to me are like the straight guys who look, for all intents and purposes, gay, and yet they are not. I know what straight guys look like. I know what gay guys look like. I have no idea what bi men look like, and neither do any of you. And yet these men are a printing error in the system. Like this one guy who I happen to see out and about, friend of one of my female friends. I know he's straight for a fact. When I happened to see him walking around, like last year or whatever, this guy was wearing a fishnet top, a fucking leather vest, the tightest jeans I have ever seen on any person of any gender, and like some neon colored knockoff Jordans. What the fuck? Straight as an arrow. Like, doesn't go to therapy, doesn't use straws, straight. But sir, you are taking a queer man's job right now.
Well, this completely backfired on Donald Trump and the MAGA movement. Last night, Lara Trump had Charlemagne the God, who's a radio host, on her live Fox News show. And I think she was expecting this to kind of be like a nice interview, like a little bit of a puff piece maybe, where she'd get Charlemagne the God to say something positive about Donald Trump. It was the exact opposite. Unprompted, in the middle of her conversation with him, Charlemagne the God brought up the Epstein files and Donald Trump's refusal to release the files, and he added that he thinks this is going to be the end of the Trump wing of the Republican Party because his base is just so furious with him and his refusal to do so. So I want to play this clip for you of Charlemagne the God talking to Lara Trump about the Epstein files, and then I want to show you Trump's response to what Charlemagne the God said, because he was not happy. But before I do so, make sure to subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, comment some blue hearts, some American flags, whatever you want to leave in the comments, and let's dive in. So the clip surrounding Epstein was later in the interview. I want to start with the very beginning of the interview, because already, right off the bat, it got off to a pretty poor start for Lara Trump when she asked, what did Charlemagne the God think about Trump's first 6 months? And he did not hold back.
The Epstein files contain an unclassified FBI report that alleges Jeffrey Epstein was trained by a former Israeli prime minister to be a spy. CHS stands for Confidential Human Source, and the allegations begin here with Alan Dershowitz, who is of course Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's former lawyer. CHS learned that Dershowitz influenced many students from wealthy families. For example, Josh Kushner, Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, were both his students. Dershowitz told CHS that if he were young again, he would be holding a stun gun as an Israeli intelligence Mossad agent. CHS believed Dershowitz was co-opted by Mossad and subscribed to their mission. CHS still continues to communicate occasionally for Dershowitz. CHS remembered Dershowitz tell Alex Acosta, U.S. Attorney of Southern District of Florida, and Trump's former labor secretary, that Epstein belonged to both U.S. and allied intelligence services. CHS shared phone calls between Dershowitz and Epstein, during which they took notes. After these calls, Mossad would then call Dershowitz to debrief. Epstein was close to the former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak, and that's been confirmed, and he trained as a spy under him. That's the allegation. One of CHS's redacted name, who presumably worked for redacted name, asked CHS a lot of questions about Epstein. CHS became convinced that Epstein was a co-opted Mossad agent. These are just allegations, of course, but it would make sense for Epstein to be a domestic and maybe even foreign intelligence asset, given how much he was able to get away with. After already being a convicted PDF file, he was able to travel freely, host powerful people, move money internationally, and avoid any real consequences for years. That is not very normal. It requires protection, leverage, or maybe even both.
Russia is unimaginably large, literally unimaginably. Most people in the West haven't imagined how large Russia is. Russia is larger than China and India put together. You combine the landmass of China, so big you can barely get your head around it, and India, almost as big, and together, they're smaller than Russia. Siberia itself is about the size of the continental United States, and there are like 10 million people living there. In all of Russia, there are about 140 million, something like that, in all of Russia. Meanwhile, Russia has the deepest energy reserves in the world, some of the highest uranium enrichment in the world.
Everybody that's having a hard time dealing with reality right now after the information we've recently been given, I just need you to hear me out for a second. It has been well documented for over decades that the United States government has known their own future. They've known the future of everybody. The elites have known their future. They have a plethora of documents on their website from Project Looking Glass and Remote Viewing in which they looked into the past and the future. They know what's about to happen on this timeline. And that may sound crazy to you, but is it as crazy as hundreds of elites keeping the same exact secret for a huge operation like Pizzagate? I don't think it does. And this isn't some bullshit. This isn't a crazy rant. This isn't the tinfoil shit that I'm usually on. This is fact. They have it documented at how successful they were with these endeavors to look into the past and the future. What's been happening behind closed doors has always been predestined to come to light at this exact moment. And the elites have known that this is their time that they fall. The reason why people are acting so crazy right now, especially people in power, is because they knew. They knew this was going to happen, and they are groveling at any sort of chance to keep the same life that they've been living. They'll try to take any power, money, any good opinion about them, and hold on to it for some sort of semblance of normalcy. And they're not going to get it. Why do you think they built bunkers? It wasn't because of nukes. It was because of normal, everyday people like you that they are afraid of. Because once the mask and the veil is lifted on everything that we're going to hear about them, because there's going to be more drops, we're going to hear more reality and earth-shattering information in the coming days, in the coming years. Once that happens, and the veil and the mask is taken off, they are done. But the world for you and me, normal people, is going to be exactly what we want it to be. It's going to be a hell of a lot better than the life we are living right now. Like, think about a snake shedding its skin to become new again. That's what's going to happen to us. Is it bad to be a little anxious? No. You don't change Earth in one day. I mean, it's very hard to do so. There's going to be hard times before there are better times. But eventually, we will all reach the same exact consciousness level. And that consciousness will provide us with the eyes wide open, seeing every single thing that they have done. And Earth will become a lot better. Life will become a lot better. Exactly every single thing we wanted will be here for us.
និយាយទៅមានតែអ្នកដែលគាត់ធ្លាប់ប្រើទេបានគាត់ដឹងថាជត់សាប៊ូកក់សក់ឡាននឹងល្អប្រើប៉ុណ្ណាកុំឲ្យថាអ្នកលក់ចេះតែអួតចូលមើល feedback ខ្លួនឯងទៅដឹងហើយអ្នកអរគ្នាអ្នកលក់ណាខ្ញុំមិនដឹងទេណាប៉ះចារីនឹងគឺតតរបស់ល្អបានហ៊ានយកមក review ឲ្យភ្ញៀវគាត់យកទៅប្រាំងគេបែកចុងសក់គាត់ខូចដោយសារការកឹបគៀបច្រើនពេកឬក៏ដោយសារការលេងពណ៌សក់ពេកអីណាសាប៊ូអស់ច្រើនប្រែណាអត់ត្រូវអាចសាកប្រើជាមួយនឹងឈុតសាប៊ូកក់សក់ឡាននាំបាននិយាយទៅខ្ញុំ recommend ខ្លាំងៗមកអ្នកគ្នាដោយសារភ្ញៀវខ្ញុំគឺគាត់ប្រើត្រូវគ្រប់គ្នាមកបាននិយាយពីក្លិនគេវិញគឺក្អូបឈ្ងុយខ្លាំងបដ ហើយទឹកអបប្រទេសបារាំងយកតែមែនតែនហ្មងណាគ្នាហើយតែកាន់តែលុយនឹងគឺមិនបាត់ជ្រុះសក់ហើយធ្វើឲ្យសក់យើងដោះមកលឿនទៀតដោយសារតែសាប៊ូគេល្អអញ្ចឹងហើយអ្នកគ្នាបានជាសាប៊ូកក់សក់ឡានឈោជើងមកដល់ឥឡូវហ្នឹងនិយាយទៅគឺលក់ដាច់ខ្លាំងមែនតែនហ្មងណា
ស
at what's happening right now. We're telling American citizens in Iran, leave immediately. And the line that gives me chills is this: make a plan to leave that does not rely on U.S. government assistance. That's not a normal warning. It sounds like Washington is quietly admitting that if things explode, we might not be able to get you out. And this is happening right as U.S. and Iran talks begin in Oman, at a moment when tensions are already extremely high. The optimists will say this is just standard warning language. Iran has always been on the do not travel list, and that is true. But the more uncomfortable reality is this: Iran has a history of detaining American citizens. And when crises escalate, civilians sometimes become bargaining chips. So ask yourself, if our own government is saying don't rely on us, what do they think might be coming next? And if warnings like this become the new precedent, appearing even before diplomacy has finished, how does that change the rules of the game for all of us? Are you convinced that the U.S. government is totally transparent about energy?
No, I think they're totally opaque about energy.
Really? Tell me.
Oh, yes. I think the U.S. government probably has unlocked 0 point or close to 0 point energy, which would be pulling energy out of the vacuum. We have inventors that have done that over and over and over.
And making energy of apparently nothing.
Well, we could start with, there's a man named Charles Pogue, who in the 30s tinkered with his carburetor and was able to get 200 miles a gallon. It's proven. It was engineers, investigated, scientists. It's totally proven. It worked. He was going to be a zillionaire or whatever. He's just going to transform society. And the problem was, once the news of his engine got out, the oil stocks crashed. They just crashed. So the oil industry lobbied the U.S. government, we have to do something about this. And in 1951, the Invention Secrecy Act was passed. So now, if you patent any device that is more than 20% efficient, that's instantly classified. That is now a state secret. It's vital.
I'm gonna say this in the plainest way possible. When over 1 million pages has released and nothing fundamental has changed, the story is not stalling. It's not. It's completed. Because systems don't respond to volume, they respond to threat. And what this proved unmistakably is that disclosure itself is not a threat. So I'm gonna show you what's actually happening when files like this drop. The system is not asking, is this true? It's asking, does this interrupt continuity? And when the answer is no, the response is automatic.
Surprise there. He and Jeffrey Epstein were close friends at one time. You can say the same thing about Bill Clinton, about Bill Gates, about former Prince Andrew. I don't